Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR Sports Weekly Rugby Podcast, joined as we are every week by Tom Crotty, Paddy Browne and James Blanchfield. Lads, how's it going?
All good here, all good, Stephen.
It's getting towards the end of the season. I'll tell you one thing, it was a quick old year. It goes fairly fast. There's lots going on. There's Leinster and Munster playing in Champions Cup this weekend and all that, but locally we're getting towards the business end of the season. We're in Towns Cup action this weekend. We'll talk about all that now in a few minutes. But Tom, commiserations to Carlow in a playoff battle against Wexford there a few weeks ago, and just came out the wrong side of it, and you're back down to Division 1B next year. That's a tough one to take.
I think in all my years involved in rugby, it was probably the hardest result I've ever had. Relegation's totally like if you play a cup match or you play a league match, there's always tomorrow, there's always next season. You just get on with it. But there's just so much on the line on the day, and as I said, I've never been part of any team that was or anything to do with a team that was relegated, so it was my first experience, and hopefully I won't feel it again, but it was a horrible feeling at the end of the day. Look, first of all, congratulations to Wexford. They threw the kitchen sink at us and it paid off for them. We started poorly enough, not great, playing into the wind, and we went down. We were down 10 points before we knew it, and look, we turned it around in the second half. We played a hell of a lot better. We got up, we scored a try. We got scored tries. We got Ben kicked 2 unbelievable kicks, 140 meters and 150 meters. We were 8 points up with probably less than 10 minutes to go. We gave away a penalty, which is grand. There was still 5 points in it. Only a couple of minutes left, and Wexford just got into our 22, and one player went to intercept the ball, but it was deemed as to me probably looked more like a knock on, was deemed a slap down, so that was a yellow card. Probably would have held it out with 14 men. 14 men is you can defend, and our defence was good all day. There's no problem. Like, it went on the line. It was solid. Like their two tries came from our mistakes, as it was a kick on, ball to the corner. 2 lads went for it. The try was given to Wexford. The other again was another scuttery try from our mistake. Again, Wexford just picked it up and scored under the post. So, look, the play went on, and our winger was deemed to have played 9 and got a yellow card, and we were down to 13. 13 is just impossible because Wexford throw the ball wide. We knew it was coming, but if you defend wide, you're going to get caught in tight. They have a couple of good ball carriers, so we tried to drift across as quick as we could, but they scored in the corner, and look, they finished with it. They got the kick, and the whistle was blown. It was the end of the story in the game, and we lost by 2 points, and we have to go back to Division 1B, which won't be the next season, and Sunday rugby. But it hasn't changed. I suppose it's like in the aftermath, we said after the game, look, it is what it is now. We have to accept it. We weren't good enough. Probably our biggest issue was our consistency of performances. If we're looking like, and compliment Paddy a bit on this, like teams like Tullow who've been there may not be given magnificent performances or the best performances they ever had in games, but they're consistently, the dog are consistent, and that's what we want. We have one poor game, one amazing game, like we had an absolutely cracking game against Byrne. No one gets a chance going to Byrne, play out of this world. if we played with that against Wexford, we would have blitzed them off the park. But we came down and we didn't have 2 games in a row. So it was our consistency all year that was a problem. That's something we have to look at next season on how we get players and ourselves into the mind frame of giving consistent performance. They don't have to be stunned. They don't have to be 20-point wins. If it's 1 point win, 2 point wins, it doesn't matter. You need to win games, especially on the road. And that's what we didn't do. So, look, it's a learning curve for us. We haven't been in 1A for a long time. Look, ever since we were devastated after AIL, it's been a long time rebuilding the club. And in fairness to everybody, the club is in a really, really good place, as in the number of players that we have playing. Maybe not in the results with our first team this season, but look, we know we can turn it around again next season. Plans are already in foot, just to see where we're going to go and to our goal. We've no choice. Next season has to be to get back up. We want to be back up. We want to be playing Tullow. We want to be playing with high, and we want the bars from those local derbies. They're huge. It'll be a bit of a loss next season, and we will miss the Tullow game.
Can I come in there for a second, Tom, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
I agree totally with what you just said. And, if you look at our 2 games this year, you won and we won, so there's nothing between us. And look at your final position was a lot to do with a kind of a freak result we had against Blanchfield. So there was no difference between the teams, really. And I totally and thoroughly agree with your last sentiment that the local derbies are what makes it. Athy and Carlow for us and Tullow, they're the big games. So we're going to miss that next year big time. So hopefully we'll stay up and you'll come straight back up, and I expect you to.
Well, hopefully so. Anyway, look, it is what it is, and as I said, look, hats off to Wexford. They're a club that were probably not performing over the last couple of years, but have turned the whole club around. Their social media, everything they've done in the last, they put an awful lot of work into the club. So, and they got promoted last season, so 2 in a row. If they get promoted this time, I know they're waiting on better results, but I would just say congratulations to Wexford. They're a very, very good club, and they're in a good place too. So look, we have to say it's great to have Southeast teams. It's pity we couldn't stay up on more Southeast teams in it, but it's great to have so many Southeast teams now perform well with the likes of New Ross and those coming up. Anyway, that's it, done and dusted for the league. We'll have to put that behind us and regroup for next year. So big game ahead at Wicklow in Gorey. We're the second fixture on Sunday. We're at 4:00. We probably would have loved to be in the first one because it's kind of going to be hard to arrive up with the crowd and the other game going on, and trying to avoid players getting distracted and stuff like that. But we're putting a plan in place as best as we can to just get up there and get out, warm up, and get the game played. Team hasn't been, and the team, to be honest, hasn't been announced yet. So we'll probably announce it before training tonight. But I reckon there probably won't be too many changes from the last day. Looking at the game, similar to Tullow, we lost to Wicklow up there with a very poor performance from us. We brought Wicklow back to Carlow, and like I said, one of those games that we were outstanding and played a really, really good game and won it at home. So we've had one each. We know what both are like. We have the greatest respect for Wicklow and Dan Van Zyl as a coach. We probably know each other's inside out now at this stage. But it's going to be a very, very tough battle. I think. Look, Cup Rugby is Cup Rugby Towns Cup is special, and I feel it will be huge battle up front. We'll have a good set of backs, so I was trying to keep them in tow. I know they like to throw the ball wide and that, and but it's down to the team that performs on the day. I know this sounds cliche, but it really is the frame of mind. If you go down a point or two, how to get back, and the team that as the team that's first around the corner to defend, first around the corner to attack, that team makes its own luck. Luck doesn't come into it. You have to get the rub of the green. You have to work hard. We've trained very well this week. We're trained tonight. We'll train through tonight because it's been on Sunday, and trying to give lads an extra day's break before they train. So we give them an extra day's break. They'll train tonight. Look, we're calling out on all the support we can get because we're going to need it. We haven't been in a whole lot of semi-finals. It's an exciting place to be. I don't think last week's performance will affect us in any sense because I think we've had enough talks to kind of put that behind us as it's done and dusted. This week is down totally to the individuals and how they perform then as a team. We'll be looking for big performances from the likes of Ardee and the leaders, John Lyons and Dan Crotty, and those that are the older, kind of more experienced players to put their arms around lads and keep them going during the game. There's a lot of talented players on the pitch from both sides. I think it'll be a cracking game. I think both games are going to be cracking. I know Paddy will talk about their own game afterwards, but I think anybody who's looking for an afternoon of exciting sport, head up to Cill Dara for the two finals because I think it's going to be two phenomenal games. Absolutely, two phenomenal games. For teams that know each other, there's an amazing thing. There's just out of the 4 semi-finals, there's 3 Southeast teams, which I know I keep harping out with Southeast, but very, very proud of where we come from and the efforts that's put in within our own area. So it's amazing to have 3 Southeast teams out of the whole of Leinster to be in the County Cup final is a fair achievement, from all involved. So look, I wish, as I said, now wish Paddy the best of luck with Tullow.
Thanks, Tom.
They'll have a tough thing. I know they can do it. I don't know what you have over there, but I said it's a doggedness. You have a lot of experience, and I know some of your players are aging a bit, but they're so intelligent and they've so much match experience, and that'll pass on to the young fellas. So, and the same with ourselves, we're probably a bit young. We're starting to mature a little bit. We probably struggled, as I said, in earlier games because the team is very young, but some of the guys are getting a bit older, a bit wiser, and hopefully the hurt from last week and the experience of the games during the season will help. Look, it is what it is. We're on at 4 o'clock in Cill Dara, and as I'm calling out to everyone for as much support as possible. Bring your black and amber and head up and get the lads a cheer on. That's all about the Towns Cup. Our seconds had last weekend played. They played Byrne. Sorry, I had to think the name for a second. They played Byrne last weekend and had a phenomenal win over Byrne. They're now into, I think it's the semi-finals or quarterfinals of the second Towns Cup. So it was a glorious day. It was nice actually to get that win on board, especially after us losing the game the day before. The sun was shining, the large siders were flying, and we had the lads came out and they were fired up. I suppose a little bit egged on from now from the performance from what happened on the Saturday, but I think the seconds are a very, very good side. There's some massive performances in there from Oisin Hart, Paddy Mackey, Josh Cope, who actually came on and played. Josh played nearly half a game for the first the day before. Also, just the bench that came on, Rory Dunbar, I think he got 3 or 4 tries in the end of the game. Had a superb performances. We had young fellas like Malachy Corbett, who's in Kilkenny College, who just has just played his first senior, got on as his first senior Seconds County Cup. But some massive performances across the board. The tackling was good, the running was good. So they're off now in the semi-final. The semi-final in not next weekend. So I want to wish them the best of luck. Our thirds are out. Our thirds are out this weekend as well. They're out on Sunday against Ardee. It's a big mixture of youth and a couple of elder lemons there. We'll have the likes of Ed Keaton, who's Ed always comes back for the thirds. Ed could probably start in our seconds if he, even at his age, he's just phenomenally fit and it's phenomenal around the pitch and bringing on players and getting his arm around young players and bringing them on and keeping them going. And Ed said, he doesn't just want to play, he wants to go out and win. So just want to wish the thirds the best of luck. Ed back.
Now, Tom, the women are in action, big game this weekend as well.
No, last weekend, all done and dusted.
Last weekend, sorry.
The women played the first round of the Division 5-6 Cup, and they had a fantastic win over Swords. It was one of the longest games of rugby I ever had. The first half was 57 minutes. The referee doing a lot of stopping for crooked in lineouts. There was an awful lot of scrums, and as I mentioned before, it was a roasting day in Carlow. We were on the t-shirts. I don't know how the girls played. They were absolutely out on their feet at the end of the game.
Absolutely.
But Swords got off to a good start. They got a try, and it was 5-0. Just before the first half ended, they got a try in, which had been 0-0 right up to the last minutes of the first half. They eventually got in. They got a try, 5-0. They didn't get a conversion. Turned in the second half, and our girls played absolutely unbelievable. You got to remember an awful lot of these women have never played rugby in their lives, but have come on so far in the season. It's just been. They're a great bunch. As I said, they've been working hard. They started off socially and then just kept banging away, and are actually starting to look like a rugby team now. We got a fantastic try somewhere between the touchline and the post, but midway between touchline and post. Courtney Forbes scored the try, and she slotted home the conversion. So we were 7-5 up. We belted on, and we got a penalty back a bit in front of the post, and we straight away shouted into point of the post, and Courtney slotted over penalty. So 8-5. We were under pressure for a while on our own line, but the girls' defence was just really unbelievable. I think we only gave away 3 high tackles in the whole game, which was, for they've been working hard on their defence and on the tackle height, and have to compliment them on it, because to only give away 3, this is like players that said haven't played before, and generally when you have even with kids that haven't played a whole lot of rugby, they tend to tackle high, but we didn't give away that. We didn't give away a whole lot of penalties on that. Once I say, it was only 3 high tackles on our side in the whole game, but there was huge performances especially from 2 of the more senior women, Louise Kelly and Val Timmins. Like, both of those played back in the Coyotes, and both of them lasted the whole game and played as hard as they could. Megan Cooney ran the show 10. Megan came playing this year. She plays football with Aero, and we passed on condolences on the day. She buried her grandfather the day before, and she turned up. And I think the girls kind of played a bit for her on the day. Then we have young girls like Niamh Gray and Niamh Gray and Darren Slater, Lucy Snoddy, Dion Snoddy. They're some of the younger ones who some of them have played, some of them haven't played before, but just seem to be putting in sound performances. And the team is led by Becky Fahy, who played minis in the club and played a bit of played on the original ladies team before it folded. But Becky has been a stalwart this season in her leadership on and off the pitch. But we just want to say congratulations to them. They're actually going through to. They're going through the semi-finals. They'll be in the semi-final. They're waiting on the result of the Garda versus Guinness St Mary. So they'll know after they're playing this weekend. So that game will be next Sunday. I presume it will be in neutral venue, but they're out next Sunday. So I want to wish them the best of luck. As I say, everything's a bonus from here on in because they won the league. We didn't expect a whole lot from them in this season. Just wanted to get them together. And we hope that the team would first of all get off the ground and that we'll be able to form a solid platform for them going forward. But they actually really got together, won the league, and as I said, they won first round was quarter final. Because they got behind the first round, so. They're in the semi-finals now, and hopefully they can win and move on. The youths wasn't around 13. I think it was over Gorey. The under-18 Rhinos had a massive win in the plate semi-final against Enniscorthy in Enniscorthy. That was 19-15 was the final result of that game. I won't mention names because I think I wasn't at the match myself, but I was told that from 1 to 20 or 19 we were there on the bench, just put in an amazing shift on the day, and they were hungry for it, and they won, as I said, they won 19-15, and Scotty were up 2 divisions on us, and it was just a cracking game. I'm delighted for the girls. They're out actually tomorrow morning at 10:30 in the SETU Carlow playing in the Division 2 final. They're playing Ashburn Balbriggan or AB for start. So we want to anyone that's around would be great to have this over. They're a fantastic bunch of girls from Carlow and Tullow. I didn't get the 16th result. Paddy probably has that from the for the girls, but as I say, I want to wish the 18s is involved huge best of luck with that. Lastly, we have the under-14 Leinster finals in Carlow on Saturday. It'll be a fantastic day of rugby with the coffee thing and barbecue and the whole lot going on. We're showing the Leinster game and the Munster game afterwards in the bar at 3 o'clock. But we have Wexford Kilkenny at 11 o'clock in the Division 2 final. Dundalk New Ross at 12 o'clock on that's in the Division 1 Shield, and Enniscorthy Longford in the Division 1 Cup. Then we have Naas Gorey in the Premier Shield, and lastly but not leastly we have local boys Tullow versus Tullamore in the last and final, the main game, Premier game, and that is kicking off at 2 o'clock. So we hope to have a good crowd over from all the clubs, good representation from all the clubs up on the day. If anybody is doing nothing in Round Glow Park and wants to watch some of the rising stars in Leinster Rugby, come along and pop in for a view. And that's all from Carlow. Thanks, man.
Good stuff. Thanks for that, Tom. Plenty going on and plenty to cover this week. We've got Tullow in the Other Towns Cup semi-finals. So you're heading to Cill Dara as well, Paddy. You got your nearest and dearest Athy to look forward to. That's going to be a cracker of a match as well.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. There's a lot to look forward to. We've a huge weekend coming up because, as well as the Towns Cup semi-final, as you mentioned, where our youths are in 4 finals. Tom has mentioned 2 of them there, and I'll come back to those in a moment. And also with another team in a 3rd, 4th playoff. And Tom mentioned the under-16 girls, and as far as I can see here, they didn't have a match last weekend. But look, I'll go back over last weekend's matches and results first before we look forward to this incredibly momentous weekend that's coming up. We had as I said, we 4 teams into finals, so there was a lot of semi-finals last weekend. The under-14 boys had a bigger win away in the Premier League to Athy and beat them 24-17. Tom mentioned the under-14 girls had they lost out to Kilkenny, a good Kilkenny side in the Leinster Cup. They lost 36-12. The under-16 boys had a huge win in the semi-final of the Leinster Premier League and beating a strong Portuguese side 45-14 away. So that was at home, so they're in the final as well this weekend. The 16 girls, 18 boys, had no matches. Tom mentioned the Rhinos there, and the great win over Enniscorthy. The other results, our seconds went down narrowly to Rathdrum. We thought we had a pretty good seconds team out, but Rathdrum were too good for us, beating us narrowly 20 points to 17 in the end. And it was a cracker of the game by all accounts. I wasn't there, and Tullow had beaten them in the Southeast Cup or Southeast League 2 weeks previously. So, but Rathdrum deserved their win, absolutely. It was in Tullow on Friday night. Finally, our women had their final match of the year in Wicklow and went down 69-12. So they will be demoted back down to the Leinster League from the AIL. But we just want to note their achievement in going AIL and the excitement it brought to the club and to themselves. They got a lot of heavy beatings, but they enjoyed it, and they experienced it playing against internationals and travelling to places like Belfast and Cork and Galway. And it really was a fantastic experience for them all. And they relished the competition and going up against the top teams. So a great experience, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again in the years to come. So we, as a club, we'd like to acknowledge their huge achievement. And so Tullow now, like our neighbours in Carlow, have had senior status, anyway, if only for a year. So it's a good one. So that was last weekend. We didn't have a podcast last week, so I briefly want to mention our quarter-final win in the Towns Cup, which was the week before against Gorey, and just to acknowledge the effort it was. The final score was Gorey 27, Tullow 36, played down in Gorey, and while Gorey have only, they're mid-table in Division 1B, they're a good cup team, and they did put it up to us. We went in a little bit stale, not having got a walkover from Skerries in the previous match, and so we had 2 Sundays without a game, or 2 weekends without a game. But nonetheless, we did the business. 19-6 was the half-time score with tries from Ryan O'Neill, Stephen Smith, and Jack Hanlon. Gorey came back at us with the wind in the second half, and we needed 2 more tries, one from Dan Culleton and a second one from Jack Hanlon to go out 36-27 winners. And the team, I'll name the team in a minute when I'm talking about previewing the semi-final next Sunday, because it's the same lineup, and I'll mention that when I'm previewing the tie match. So that brings us to the weekend coming, and as I said, it's a huge weekend. We have 4 youth teams in finals and one in a third, 4 playoff. So starting off with the under-14 boys tomorrow or Saturday in Carlow, and it's the Premier League final against Tullamore, and that would be a huge occasion. And thanks, Tom, for your good wishes there. It'll be at 2 o'clock. It'll probably be eating into the Leinster match a little bit, but all of Tullow will be supporting our boys over in the Premier League final anyway. The under-15 boys are in the Southeast League Cup final in Enniscorthy against Wicklow. We got to the semi-final last year, so that's another final for our under-15 boys. The under-16 Rhinos are against New Ross in the Leinster League playoffs. And New Ross will be really out for revenge. I think we beat them narrowly in the league stages. The under-14 Rhino or under-18 Rhinos, Tom has covered that, so I won't say too much, but wish them the very, very best of luck tomorrow morning. in Setu on Saturday morning at 10:30, and hopefully there'll be a good support, as Tom said there, for that team. It's a combined team with Carlow and Tullow, and it worked really, really well with both clubs coming together to produce a really good team. On Sunday, another huge match. Under 16 boys are up in Mullingar to play Navan in the Leinster League Premier Final as well. We beat, as I mentioned, we beat Portlaoise in the semi-final last week, 45-14. So it'll be a cracker. Navan were the only team to beat us in the league stages this year, so that will be a tight game. And our J2s then who lost in the cup last week are playing in the second plate against Clondalkin, and that's at 3:00 on Sunday. And again, like Tom had mentioned, there's clashing with the Town's Cup, so that's a disappointment for any of our seconds who wanted to go up to Cill Dara, but c'est la vie, and there is a lot of fixtures issues around it. So I suppose that brings me, Stephen, to the big one, and I mean, you could for the under 14s and 16s, they're the big ones, but I suppose for the club, the Towns Cup semi-final against Athy, as I suppose a curtain raiser to the Carlow Wicklow match is a huge occasion. The decision to play the two matches together, I think it's a good one, because all four teams would like to see both matches, and this gives them a chance to do it. It will be logistically difficult. There'll be a massive crowd in Cill Dara, but I think they have lots of park on there, and the land will be dry enough to go out and park on their other pitches, but they will need to do that. So our match is the first match at 2:00. The team, which is the same team that played against Gorey in the quarter-final, is Adam Burgess full-back. 3/4, Jack Hanlon, Ryan Jordan, Adam Johnson and Shane Rowan. Halves, Peter Burgess, Ryan O'Neill. The front row, Scott Callback, Daniel Culleton, Tom Cashin. Second row, Colin Gorey, Martin Cole. And the back row, Joe Waters, Jack McDonald and Stephen Smith. And the subs are Fiacre Byrne, Feet Kavanagh, Philip Byrne, Jack Johnson and Jack Fitzgerald. So, it's very hard to call. We played Athy, obviously, twice in regulation league. We drew in Tullow, in the match in Tullow, and then we beat them in our second final league match in a very important match for Tullow, because if we'd lost that, we were gone down automatically, I would say. Or certainly not automatically, but in a relegation playoff. And Athy went 17-3 up. And the Tullow scrum really took over, and there was a lot of scrum penalties for us, and we eventually won that match 34-25, and that was a huge match in our season. It was we spoke earlier on in these podcasts, Stephen, about Tullow in the last few years turn things around in after Christmas. We didn't this year, but we eventually did, and it was against Athy in that particular match. And we've been going well since, between the Bective match and obviously the Gorey quarter-final. Two very different teams. I think we would have a bigger pack and certainly won the scrums that day, even though the Athy pack is very mobile. But we have a very big pack, as Tom mentioned there, and some very experienced players. And when they're all on the pitch together, they are a sizable pack. So we'd be hoping to have some dominance there. But on the other hand of it, Athy have a fantastic set of backs, and with Joey Carby's brother back in at scrum half now, I believe the new Ross forwards put it up to in the quarter final, put it up to Athy, but their backs really pulled it out of the fire. And we saw even in that match that we beat them in that they can score twice, many of us. So our defence is going to have to be really on its game. They, even that day into the defeat, they scored tries from the full length of the field. So our defence needs to be really on it. So yeah, it's a huge occasion with the two big semi-finals, and as Tom said, 3 teams from the southeast and the 4th team from just up the road. So there's a lot of local interest. There will be a massive crowd. And we can't wait for the day. I think I hadn't thought about what Tom said about the advantage of going on first or second. I suppose when I look at it, it will be nice to be able to relax and watch the second match. But that's the look of the draw, I suppose. As I said, I mentioned out the team there. It's the same team exactly as we played in the quarterfinals. So the main omission would be Gareth Fitzgerald. who was scrum half in the last 2 winning town cups, and played very well in both those games. So he's a bit of a loss for sure. But Ryan O'Neill has stepped in from the wing into scrum half and has lots of experience in that position, and really has done very well. So fair play to him. I don't preempt the semi-final, but it would be absolutely historic for Tullow. We're going for 3 in a row, and Athy will have something to say about that for sure. But it's a huge occasion. So look at best of luck to Carlow next Sunday as well. And
thanks, Paddy.
It would be just wonderful to have a county final, but we won't.
A county final in Naas, huh?
Yeah, we won't preempt anything like that. I suppose Kildare GA team have been coming down to Dr. Cullen Park, so a Carlow county final in Naas would only be paying back the compliment, I suppose. But anyways, yeah, Athy is the big challenge this week, and we're really looking forward to it. So, but again, just to mention, it's a huge event for the club with four youth teams in the final, so as well. But that's it, Stephen. All play for.
Cheers, lads. Busy weekend. No pressure. The very best of luck to both teams in the semi-finals. They're both up in Cill Dara. Tullow, Athy, and of course Carlow in action as well against Wicklow, and all the other youths games and other things besides. Get out and support them if you can. Only cracking rugby on this weekend, and fingers crossed that Carlow and Tullow do the business at the weekend. Leinster, of course, playing Harlequins as well up in Croke Park. Munster in action as well in the Champions Cup. There's lots to keep us entertained and keep us on our toes. And
give us your predictions there, Stephen. No, you don't have not on Carlow and Tullow now. we don't want to hear those. There's only jinxes. Give us your predictions on the 2 semis.
The provincial.
There's 3 semis.
The semis, I think Leinster
three quarters.
Or no, it's round of 16, isn't it?
But Connacht are playing round 16. Connacht are playing Cardiff in the other one as well.
I think Connacht will beat Cardiff, but they'll definitely want to make amends for last weekend's loss against Munster. They'll be a bit peed off with that match, I think, from a number of different angles. They were a bit messy. They probably, I don't know, I think on another day they would have won it. They would have taken advantage of having the extra man or men, and I just think they'll be a bit pissed off at how things went in McHale Park. So I think Connacht for that. I think Leinster will be Harlequins. The team has been named there today. It's not a cocky thing or anything to that. Just think I would have been more worried about Northampton last year in that game in Croke Park. But I just think Leinster would have Harlequins number. Just look at the team sheet there, and it's like it's a very full international side, and the bench is scary as well. Like Geordie's on the bench, like Geordie Barrett.
I didn't see Snyman on the bench.
Snyman's starting.
There's no James Ryan.
All right.
So Snyman and McCarthy are in the second row.
All right. Very good.
Slamarny starts. Tyke Furlong's on the bench. And you've got Barrett's on. So I have it here now, actually. I'll call it out sure while I have you there. So you've got Porter, Sheehan and Slimani, McCarty and Snyman second row. Jack Conan's at 6. Van der Fleer at 7 and Doris is at 8. Gibson Park and Prendergast are the halfbacks. Then James Lowe's on the left wing. Henshaw and Ringrose are in the centre. Jamie Osborne's on the right wing, and Keenan is full back. Then you've got Gus McCarthy, Boyle and Furlong. Baird is the back row or second row cover back row. Then Deegan is there on the bench as well. Max Deegan, he's had savage form lately. Luke McGrath, Ross Byrne and Barrett are on the bench then as well. Like that's pretty.
Some lineup.
It's pretty ridiculous. Like,
well, that is an international team because
for sure.
Like
really
Snyman is South Africa. The prop is played for France, and Barrett's an All Black.
Yeah.
So you basically have a full international team. If you put them all together, that's an international team. I can't see Harlequins fronting up to that. I think they'll give them a bit of a run for their money, but I can't see them beating them. Munster are, I think the fact after losing much from the centre,
Mankaville.
Nankiville's defence, his whole running of the defence, and the way he was playing last weekend, I think he's a massive loss. I don't think we can't afford, Munster can't afford losses like that. Look, I think they'll get. Look, Munster, Munster, they're going over. They'll try and they'll play. Hopefully, they'll go out and play like Munster. They'll give La Rochelle a run for the money.
Yeah, like I wouldn't write.
La Rochelle haven't been in great form either.
No. They've had a terrible run of it now.
They've lost the last 5 matches, haven't they?
They have, yeah, and that's where Munster are dangerous. That's why I wouldn't write Munster off, regardless.
I wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't write. I definitely wouldn't write them. I just hope I hope they go out and play like a Munster team can play. Just go out and be dogged and just stick with it. And it's great to have Casey back. He was a little dinger there against Connacht.
He was brilliant.
You can see the difference. Great for Ireland, like to have him back. I think as he gets older, he's getting better. I know, as I said, he's just like a mad rabbit there running around, cutting the headlights at times, running from Billy to Jack. But that seems to be, he was able to slow the game down this time, and he was a little bit more controlling of the game. I think as he matures, he'll be a good little scrum half because he has all the traits of the speed and the pass, But if he can learn to control the game more, that's a thing of age. Any player at 9 or 10 age, experience really comes into it. So
Crowley played an awful lot better last week because Casey was there as well.
Exactly.
The two of them together. I think Casey's rugby intelligence has just went through the roof in the last year because he was a bit, he was obviously always fast and nippy in that as well, but it just decision-wise, I think especially last season, he wasn't really selling it to me at all, but Jesus, this year, different. He's thinking more about it. He's just more organised, like you said, Tom. He knows when to pull the reins back a bit on the game and go, listen, we need to change tack here a small bit. He's almost like he's like thinking like a 10, playing as a
man. It's like a young fella goes out and plays mini rugby and he just run. You'll see a lad who has all the potential of the world, goes out mini rugby and run around like a lunatic. Then he goes into youth, still has that, and it takes years for him. It gets to 18s by the time that player calms that, starts to get a bit of experience, and you can even see 18s moving up, any of the younger ones moving up sometimes to get a bit angsty or the rush stuff. But it's I think he's I would be of the same opinion, Stephen. The last couple of years, I actually would have been kind of saying, I don't know. The jury was really out, but
same.
I know he's been out for a long time, but I thought his game management against Connacht and the way he played showed an awful lot of maturity. And if he can keep that going forward, because you do need to have that second one for Gibson Park.
Oh yeah, definitely. He has all this skills.
I don't know what's happening we really do. We need to make sure we mind our scrum halves nationally and our row halves, because we don't have a whole lot of them. There's back rows in abundance. There is plenty of centres and wings and full backs there.
One bright light, Tom, would be Fintan Gunn last week in South Africa. He was, for his first start, he was absolutely superb. So he's one for the future.
And forgive me now, his name is slipped my mind. Murphy over in Connacht.
Yeah, he's very good as well.
Yeah.